welcome to the show. I'm Danella, and here's what's happening now. Well, the flu is hitting our country hard. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, in political pop this week, we're going to talk about a longtime Republican goal. They've finally done it. I'll talk about what they've achieved. That's on deck in political pop. And in our world this week, hey, the U.S. were one of the richest nations in the world. And guess what? Why are so many of our children dying here? More than other rich nations. We're going to talk about what a new report has released. But first, we'll head to Lynchburg, Pennsylvania. There, a police chief there. We're talking a 40-year-old Michael William Diebold. This guy was arrested in an undercover sexting ring. He was actually sexting a teenager. Here's what the ad said. It said, I am looking for a female sub for ongoing play sessions. I do not have a set type of woman, so any age, race, or status may email me. He says, I respect any and all limits, and you do not need to be experienced. Well, he posted that online, and you know who answered? Think to catch a predator. That's what happened. A 14-year-old girl answered. And he kept on sexting this person. This is what he was saying. He says, I'm a dom male that is also employed as a full-time police officer. I hope that does not scare you off. And on December 29th, this is what he did. I hate to even say it out loud, but he sent several photos of him in different stages of undress. And when I say of him, I mean his erect penis. I'm sorry to even have to say that. Let's talk about some of these texts here. He said, everyone has to have a first time. And he says, you will just have to get me naked tomorrow. Well, tomorrow came. And you know what? That's when he was met by officers and arrested. Well, let's talk a bit more about him. Yes, this police chief just last year, he's like a local celebrity in his area. Here's what happened. Apparently he lost his arm during a fireworks accident, and then last year he got married to his fiance on television. They televised this, and now here's what his wife has to say. Since being married to him, this is terrible. She says, I am broken, devastated, humiliated, and I was completely blindsided. He was the first man ever in my life who never made me question, never gave me a gut feeling, never a bad instinct or a sign, and we were even in the process of planning to extend our family. I cannot imagine. People are crazy. And now let's talk about this flu situation in America. 46 states so far have reported flu activity. Well, 26 of those states classified their flu activity as high. And included in that list is California. So sorry for the folks to you out there. They said that so far you guys have had 27 flu-related deaths in people under the age of 65. And more people have been hospitalized than usual. They say also there have been spot shortages of flu medications. And let's talk about those deaths. I said 27 under the age of 65. And compared to this time last year, they said this time last year there was only about 4 or 5. Well, the authorities there are estimating that the reason for the high death volume is because flu season started earlier than normal. So listen, I'm going to urge you guys. I noticed even in my own family around Christmas time, my family in North Carolina had several people with the flu. Even here, my family in the DC area, we've had people that were sick as well. So please, folks, take care of yourself, okay? Please take care of yourself. Now let's head over. We're talking about California. We're going to stay in California and go to Southern California. Folks in Santa Barbara County, I swear they keep getting hit hard. First dealing with these dangerous wildfires and now deadly mudslides. Wildfires damaged the land so badly it was not prepared to absorb any of the water that poured down earlier this week. And so in the mudslides, they're saying at least 17 people have been reported dead. They estimate about 24 people missing. I mean, terrible, terrible news there. So just praying for the folks in Southern California. Just a lot that they're dealing with. So let's send our thoughts and prayers to them. And now it's time for Political Pop. Here is your political pop for Friday, January 12th. The Trump administration will allow states to impose work requirements on Medicaid recipients. This is a big victory for the Republicans. It's something that they've wanted a long time, and here's what's happening. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, they said this, they're going to start approving state waivers promoting, quote, community engagement activities in the upcoming weeks. States can now require non-disabled work age recipients to work, volunteer, go to school, or enter a job training program. Now, critics fear that many will be unable to fulfill the work requirement and lose their health care coverage. Now, we will definitely see this battled out in court. I'm sure of that. And that was your political pop. And now let's just get straight into In Our World. This week we're talking about this. American kids are 70% more likely to die before adulthood than kids in other rich countries. Can you believe that? A new study was released and this is what they said. They said that amongst 20 wealthy countries, the U.S., we come in dead last on childhood deaths. Terrible. They're saying that it's estimated that since 1961, they take it back. They say America's poor performance accounts for more than 600,000 excess child deaths. And they say these deaths would not have occurred in other rich nations. So the big question is, what's happening here in the U.S.? What's wrong? Why are more of our children dying compared to other similar rich nations? Well, the authors of this report say one of the reasons is healthcare. They say, for example, a new mother may not have had health insurance before becoming pregnant, and this could be during a time that she would be eligible for Medicaid. And they say that these untreated health issues are likely to affect the child. Also affecting children, this report says childhood poverty. So it begs the question, why don't we take care of our citizens that need more help? Why don't we help them? I remember when I was at NYU and I pledged a local sorority there. And I remember my pledge sisters and I haven't thought about this phrase but in a while, but it's ingrained in me, and this idea is that you are only as strong as your weakest link. And it's interesting to me when we see Medicaid saying, hey, states, you have the power, states, to impose work requirements. But what about the people that are on Medicaid and maybe they're not disabled but they're injured and can't go to work? What about the people that are on Medicaid and don't have the education to get a better job, and struggling to get work placement? What about those people? They still deserve coverage. At least I feel that. I do feel that, because I really do subscribe. You're only as strong as your weakest link, because these things in the end will trickle up to affect all of us. So here's what I want to challenge you. Midterm elections. Yes, coming up. A lot of our areas, there's a lot of seats. Voting is happening. And I know many people tend to vote in presidential elections, but it's elections like these that are also very, very important. This is a time to put elected officials into office with like-minded views. Okay? So I want to encourage you, whatever your view is, to get out, vote, and express that when it is your time to do it. It is your duty, and we need you to do it. We, as in the world, the U.S., we need you to do this. So before we wrap up the show, I want to share with you a mommy moment that actually is courtesy of my nanny. She is amazing. So she was talking to me about just as she's taking our son out and what she sees. And she says, Danella, you would be so surprised to see how many nannies and babysitters are on their cell phones when they're with their kids. And she had told me this before. Maybe when my son was about 9 months, she was saying, listen, I would never use my phone with your child, and that really stood out to me. And I was really lucky because we were very blessed to be able to have her. And when she started out, she was more of a mother's helper in the sense that she was there and I was there, and so we could work together and build trust. And I remember, like, anytime I've ever driven past, our neighborhood and seen her, or walk into another room of the house, or just anytime I come upon her, she was never on her phone, always engaging my child. And I'm so grateful for that. How well he can speaks two languages, Spanish and English, fluently, because of the constant engagement. And a lot of times we are so used to these, the phone, the internet. And I've even been out to dinner and seen entire families just stay on their phones the entire time. And I want to encourage this to you guys. If it's you, if it's your family, if you're friends of someone and you see this, encourage them to put down their phones and interact with one another. It's important to your child's self-esteem, for your family's communication. It's important. We need this. So this mommy moment is just to encourage you. If it's you, if you're a babysitter, if you're a nanny, even if you're a mom, if you find yourself with your child, just try to set the phone aside, turn the screens off, and give your family some quality time. Because it's fleeting. It is fleeting. Soon you'll be old and wanting to spend time with your child. And then your child's not going to have time for you. They're going to be on their phone. Too busy. Yes, so that wraps up our show for this week. As always, thank you so much for joining the show. I hope you have an incredible weekend, and I will see you